Hook. Imagine a world where a single upset ripples across a team that was supposed to cruise to the quarterfinals. That world is the 2026 World Baseball Classic, and Team USA just got a wake-up call from Italy. What makes this really interesting is that USA still advances, but not by a comfortable margin. Italy's perfect 4-0 run flipped the script, and suddenly the bracket isn't a straight line to glory. In my opinion, the WBC is less about star power and more about momentum, pitching stamina, and the tiny margins that separate a first-round exit from a deep run. Today we're breaking down what happened, why it matters, and what it signals for USA going forward. First big idea, the shocker that wasn't a disaster. Italy's win over Mexico forced a high-wire moment for USA, advancing only if Mexico beat Italy and scored enough runs, or if Italy's result went a certain way. My take, the structure of pool play in a knockout-ready tournament is designed to create drama, but it exposes complacency. What this really suggests is that even a powerhouse team can be on the brink if they don't bring energy from the first pitch. This matters because it reframes USA's path, not a smooth ride, but a test of grit, composure, and the ability to respond under pressure. A detail I find fascinating is how the schedule and results create a narrative where Italy becomes a catalyst for USA's own accountability. If you take a step back and think about it, the entire pool shook out exactly because one team carried unseen pressure, the pressure to perform not just for themselves, but to keep a dream alive for a roster packed with talent. Second big idea, the standout performance you didn't see coming, Vinny Pasquantino's 3-homer game. Italy's captain went from 0-for-12 to hitting 3 long balls in one night, becoming the first player in WBC history to achieve a 3-homer game. What makes this really interesting is how a single night like that can redefine a player's career in a tournament that lives and dies by moments. In my opinion, this kind of breakout matters because it shifts how opponents game plan for Italy and also recalibrates national pride and narrative around a player who might have flown under the radar. A detail I find fascinating is how Pasquantino's surge changes Italy's ceiling, no longer just a dark horse, now a legitimate threat that demands respect. What this implies is that depth matters more than ever in a short tournament, and leadership can emerge from unexpected places, altering the pace of the entire event. Third big idea, USA's pitching depth as the potential difference maker. With Logan Webb and Paul Skeens on track to start in the quarterfinals, USA has genuine length on the mound. The 80-pitch limit in the quarterfinals opens strategic doors, longer stints from top arms can stabilize a high-stakes game. My interpretation, depth in a compact tournament is as vital as star power, because bullpen flexibility translates into late-game competitiveness. From my perspective, expecting USA to simply rely on a handful of aces is a mistake. The real leverage comes from how the staff manages a short series, how they deploy bullpen days, and how the offense supports those arms when the heat is on. A detail I find fascinating is that this is a microcosm of modern baseball philosophy, rotation governance, pitch counts, and bullpen optimization, applied to national pride and single elimination drama. Deeper insight, this run is a reminder that momentum in baseball is fragile yet contagious. A blowout loss like Tuesday's to Italy isn't just a setback, it acts as a mirror, reflecting the gap between hype and execution. What this really suggests is that the sport's contemporary narrative favors teams that respond with immediate, concrete adjustments, energy, focus, and a willingness to lean into uncertainty. It also raises a bigger question: does the WBC's high-stakes, do-or-die format encourage better preparation and urgency than a standard tournament? My take, yes, it pushes players to reset quickly, adopt a shorter fuse on hesitation, and play with a heightened awareness of every at-bat. A detail I find fascinating is how a national team's identity becomes a living thing during a tournament. Moments like Pasquantino's breakout or a last-second bullpen decision can redefine who a country believes itself to be on the world stage. Closing thought, this weekend isn't about a single win or loss, it's about the shift in tempo for Team USA. They've got the talent, yes, but now they must translate that talent into relentless execution under pressure. If USA can turn this wake-up call into a sustained sprint, better plate discipline, sharper situational hitting, and smarter bullpen use, the path to a title remains open. A lingering question for you: how much should we read into a single upset when measuring a team's true championship potential? If you enjoyed this take, drop a comment with your sense of USA's ceiling in this format, and tell me which storyline you think will define the quarterfinals. I'm curious to hear your perspective on how much weight you give to momentum versus raw talent in a tournament this condensed.